Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Let's see what are the developments in Bakhmut, which is the hottest spot on the Ukrainian front. We have here two articles, one from Agency France Press, the other one from Ukrainska Pravda. So this is the good people's side of the story. I don't have the other side of the story yet. I'm waiting for some information to get updated. So let's start with the article coming from Ukrainska Pravda. And this is from today, the 13th of March 2023. The headline reads, Wagnerites trying to break through to central Bakhmut, attacking from several directions. Okay, so there the fight is, I'm assuming here by this, in central Bakhmut. Now, the commander of the Ukrainian forces, ground forces, Oleksandr Syrsky, has reported that the situation around Bakhmut in Donetsk Oblast is challenging. The occupiers / the Russians keep trying to break through the defenses and advance into the city center, but are suffering heavy losses. You see, this is the general here, the commander of the ground forces. And I have to tell you that whenever, I think this picture is taken allegedly when he visited Bakhmut. I don't know if he's still in Bakhmut or not. The thing is, just an observation, whenever the Ukrainians are seeing Prigozhin, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the chief of Wagner group, and he shows his face outside on top of a building in Bakhmut or at the outskirts of Bakhmut, he's outside. Well, for me, that builds a little bit of, I don't want to say admiration, but at least he's outside, he is exposing himself to being shot and blown up. This guy, on the other hand, is inside. The Ukrainians, when they provide an article and they talk about Prigozhin, and comment on one of Prigozhin's video, they always claim, oh, he's not where he says he is. He allegedly is in Bakhmut. Yeah, he's not actually in Bakhmut. He's 2 miles east of Bakhmut, or things like this. But he's at least outside and over there. Whenever they show me this Syrsky general, he's inside. I don't know where he is. I mean, if I look at him, I can't identify his location. You may say, well, that's the reason why I'm in, for the safety, you know. That's how you do in a war. Well, what about Prigozhin? Is he an idiot or what's going on? And I don't like whenever this guy is, obviously, I mean, I understand the reason. This is their guy, so he has to be a legend. The other one is not their guy, must be a crook and evil. The same, the other way around. So, but the other thing is just an observation. This guy right here in this picture, he is inside. I don't know where he's at. Is he at my neighbor's basement? I don't know where he's at. Okay, so I don't believe that this guy was where he said he was whatsoever. Why? Because I see how they interpret the other side. So I'm saying, well, why don't you use the same standard for your guy here? But anyway, let's move on. Quote from commander of Ukrainian ground forces. The situation around Bakhmut remains difficult. Wagner's assault units are advancing from several directions. Didn't you hear on whatever this good news media tells you that the Wagnerites are dead, are decimated, are almost done? And on top of that, they are in bad shape with the Russian military. There are arguments between Prigozhin and Shoigu and Gerasimov, the guys in charge in the Russian military. Didn't you hear that? And we hear now that the Wagnerites are still fighting there, are still the ones who are, doing something about it. I mean, you have to pick certain things from their other articles to find out what's going on over there. I mean, it can't be two things at the same time. So, at the same time, Syrsky added that in the course of fierce battles, Ukrainian soldiers are inflicting significant losses on the occupiers. He emphasized, okay, look here, another picture. See here? This is the same guy right here, again, indoor. But anyway, this is an observation. He emphasized that the defenders are repelling all Russian attempts to capture the city with artillery, tanks, and other firepower, and the defense of the fortress, one of the names of Bakhmut, continues. Now, on March 9th, Alexander Syrsky, commander of the Ukrainian ground forces, said that the defense forces were not allowing the Russians to take the city into operational encirclement, but the situation remained complicated. Well, let me show you a little bit on the map what the situation is in Bakhmut. This is a Russian map. You say, oh my God, well, I'm using all of them, so you know what I mean? If I use the Ukrainians, they're not angels. If I'm using the French, they're definitely not angels. If I'm using the Russians, the same thing applies. So, you know, so this is Artemovsk, this is Bakhmut, but the Russians call it Artemovsk. So what do you see here? Do you see that this on the south, this in the north, might, if you know what I mean. So this is Bakhmut. And I saw another map coming from, what was that? From, I think, Reuters, where there was a telegraph. Well, this is showed even more close than it is right now. So yes, they're fighting encirclement, but if these things advance west, and this advanced west right here, you know, what's gonna happen with these guys here? I mean, you're gonna have so many ways to block after that their retreat. All right, so let's go here. Let's go to the Agence France Presse article. So this is, again, from today, March 13th, 2023. Fierce battles rage in central Bakhmut as Russians grinds forward. Fierce fighting is raging for control of the center of Bakhmut and eastern Ukraine, the longest running and bloodiest battle of Moscow's invasion, Russian and Ukrainian forces said Monday. So both of them said, huh? Ukraine said that Russia's Wagner mercenary group, which has claimed to be leading Moscow's charge for the industrial city, was pushing forward in a city that has been the epicenter of fighting for months. So now we find out it's an industrial city, huh? I thought it had no value whatsoever. I'm quoting, Wagner assault units are advancing from several directions, trying to break through our troops' defensive positions and move to the center of the city, end quote, the Ukrainian military said in a morning briefing. In fierce battle, I'm quoting again, our defenders are inflicting significant losses on the enemy, end quote. Analysts are divided over the strategic significance of Bakhmut as a military prize, but the city has gained important political stature. Stature. Of course, with both sides pouring significant resources into the fight. Wagner head Yevgeny Prigozhin also acknowledged that his forces were coming up against determined resistance as they sought to wrest control of the city center. And I'm quoting Prigozhin. The situation in Bakhmut is difficult, very difficult. The enemy is battling for every meter. He posted that. So, definitely that's a problem over there for the Russians, but it's, you see, when you hear this side saying that those guys are advancing on several fronts or trying to advance, it shows me that, you know, they're doing something, and they don't say, well, they're retreating. I haven't heard that mentioned over there, did you? Remember, the French have no interest in, apparently, right, to maximize the Russians' successes. On the contrary, so if they say, that's all they say, that they are attacking on several fronts, right? It was that one of the things they said here. Yeah, as Russian grinds forward. That's one of the things, as I said here. So, which is okay, they're fighting for the center. And it says, Wagner assault units are advancing from several directions. But this is what the Ukrainians said, and Agence France Presse took it and then inserted it in their article. Well, I don't want to say I have no doubt, but I'm 98% certain that Bakhmut is done. It's just I think they try to create some kind of heroic battles for something that could have been avoided. Avoided how? I still disagree with the Ukrainian policy, I don't even know, strategy of fighting inside cities. On one side, I can see the advantage, but overall, look what happened to that city. You are part of the problem as well. I mean, the city would not have been raised as it is right now with all the population out and destroyed. You know, you say if you could have managed that, you had the power and you didn't. That means fight outside the city, fight to the side, meet the enemy somewhere else. Don't stay in the city. What do you expect them to stop? Declare Bakhmut an open city or something. But they choose to fight over there and they say, well, the Russians bombarded this. Well, we determined that the Russians are evil, okay? Because that's what we're supposed to think. They're evil and bad and whatever. But if you, let's say, you would not have fought inside the city would have been blown up? I don't think so. So then, if you can't control something, which is the Russian, behavior, but at least you can control your behavior, and your behavior will have consequences. Don't fight in the city. You want to fight in the city? I think you're partly responsible for that. If you want to tell me, well, I'm going to fight on the beaches, I'm not fighting in the landing ground, I will never surrender. Okay, Churchill, and you're staying in your bunker, not even in London, as we know. But you show up in London, oh, the destruction, yeah, and then he gets in his freaking car and goes outside of London. Yeah, that's how he was, but it's okay. It doesn't, I didn't try to minimize his, fight and determination, but on the other hand, what's the point here in this Wagner group, Wagner with Bakhmut? What's the point? You got all the population out. Now they are wherever they are, children, women, old people, and so on. The city is destroyed because the evil Russians are coming. And you say, well, we fought the Russians, we inflicted a lot of damage, and you didn't. It's the same thing as, you got a splinter, got something in your finger, you go to the doctor and say, well, we're going to figure it out. And the guy comes and, cut your hand off. Well, we solved the problem, but, it's a lot of sacrifice here, but we solved the problem. We held back the Russians in Bakhmut for 6 months, and we killed a lot of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, what else did you do? What are the consequences of the city and people, refugees, and you can, as I said, blame the Russians as much as you want. Okay, you can't control that, okay? But what you can control, you didn't. So for me, Bakhmut is going to fall anyway, and they know it's going to fall anyway. It's like the battle for Stalingrad. I think they want to make it, when there was a direct battle between Adolf and Joseph. There you have it. And then it was like a pissing contest where people died. This is how wars are, but what can you do? And it's always one side is only bad and the other one is only good. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.